Hello and welcome to Talking About. I'm John Griffith.
I'm Cara Kilda.
And I'm JC Alvarez, and we're joined today by blogger turned author Justin Hernandez.
Hello. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
We're glad to have you, but before we go, I do want to make a little bit of an announcement. Our show tonight is being directed by Ruben. Our regular director, Joey, is not here tonight because he got married yesterday. He married his longtime.
God bless him.
And he texted me this afternoon and he said he was sore, so he couldn't make it. So
Well, it is,
Really? That's TMI.
it is a gay wedding.
so take that as you want, but congrats, Joey.
It is a
we'll see you next time.
It is a gay honeymoon. And I'm so happy that my dad is watching tonight while we have that going on. But let's talk about Justin, who actually is the infamous blogger behind nakedinNewYorkCity.com. And that's kind of like been your claim to fame. You've sort of been like shelling out all this really great dating advice and just sharing your experiences to the world. Tell us a little bit about that, becoming this sort of like dating blogger.
Well, when I'm a native New Yorker, and I moved out to Los Angeles for 7 years to pursue a dance career. And when I moved back to New York, I decided that I really I needed a creative outlet because I hadn't been dancing in quite some time, and I just really needed something. So I decided to just start a blog, and I said, okay, I'm going to write about my dating experiences, my search for love, my search for the one, and from there it just sort of grew, and next thing I know, just people started reading, and a lot of people were connecting with what I was writing. So I said, okay, well, I'm doing something right, and I kept going, and then from there I just decided to pursue writing a book.
The Misadventures of Dating Life in New York City.
Yeah.
The book is called Inside the Vortex. And it's interesting because you were telling me before how sort of like the blogging came first and the book came after, but the book is actually sort of like the jumping point for your blog.
The book seems to be the journey to the blog.
Yeah. It's basically it's the prequel, yes. It's like
Everyone
Star
thinks
Wars.
in prequels today.
No, when I was writing the blog, I was writing about my dating stories, but I was also, in addition to writing about what I was going through on my dates, I was also sort of dissecting what it is that attracts me to certain types of individuals. Why am I drawn to certain type of men? And so I alluded to some of my past in the blog, and then from there, people sort of became curious, like, well, how'd you get to this point? How did you, how were you able to put it all out there, and how were you able to be so honest with your writing? And that's how the book came to be.
It's such a great exercise. I mean, as a writer and as creative people, like, when you have that sort of outlet that you can put your thoughts out there, and you find that you can actually, by putting your thoughts out there and sharing them to like the universe, it becomes helpful to other people.
Yeah. And it's also therapeutic, you know. I mean, it helps yourself and you help other people, so it's all good.
Would you recommend that Katie Holmes read your blog?
Well, she's been married to a gay man for quite some time, hasn't she? So, oh my
She
God.
should read it right away.
The Scientologists are going to come swooping down right now.
It's one of the things that you do tackle in your blog, of course, because relationships is such a like universal topic that everyone has to deal with. But it's like, has someone ever contacted you or given you something on your blog that just like really threw you for a loop that was just kind of like out there?
No, not really. I have to say I've gotten a very good response from the blog. You prepare yourself when you put yourself out in a public forum you have to take the good and the bad and you have to just roll with it. But I've never really gotten any negative feedback or criticism, and so.
That's good. And speaking of feedback and, well, not criticism, but feedback and interaction, this is a live show. Our phone number is 718-460-9802. If you have any questions or comments, we do welcome them, so please call in. And the book is very much, it seems to be very much a journey of self-discovery.
Yes.
And what do you think people would find to be most relatable to them as they pick up the book?
I think, we've all had our fair share of bad relationships. Who hasn't, chased after the wrong person for the wrong reasons?
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Like a dog.
So, you know, there's that relatable factor because I do speak about especially my last relationships before I moved back to New York, you know, my Los Angeles relationships. And I think there's just something identifiable in, you know, just that aspect of looking at yourself and saying, well, what did I do to contribute to this? What did I bring to the party? Why did this happen? You know, it's a very hard thing to do. You know, a lot of times we're very comfortable with just pointing the finger and saying, oh, well, this happened because of this, and had nothing to do with me. So to sort of turn the mirror onto yourself and look, you know, it's...
Yeah, there's a saying that people use, if you're pointing one finger at somebody else, there's three fingers pointing back at yourself.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that Katie Holmes is worried about those things right now. Why do I keep bringing up Katie Holmes? I'm like obsessed. And I'm really not. I'm really not obsessed with Katie Holmes' situation with Tom Cruise.
It's creepy.
I'm creeped out by Scientology, but that's besides the point. It's like, you know, it's one of those things.
We'll send you undercover.
No.
He might not come back.
From what I've heard, I might not come back. But it's sort of interesting sometimes, or at least like one of the things that I think are dating challenges, especially it doesn't so much happen. It happens a lot in our world. What if you're faced with that dilemma where you're dating someone of a different faith? Like if you are Catholic and you're dating someone who's Jewish, it's like, is that a dynamic that is manageable? Is that something that you think about, like when you're sort of like out there looking for someone? Do you want to date someone that's within your same faith?
You know, I don't practice any religious, you know, in any school of religion, I don't really subscribe to it, but I was raised a Catholic. So what I have noticed through my dating scenarios is that I'm really sort of in sync with a lot of other people who were brought up with Catholicism as well, like a lot of men.
A lot of guilt.
Yeah, well, hey!
Yeah, we're wrought with guilt.
Yeah, but there's just something about it, it's relatable, you know, but I don't know, I've never been in a situation where I've been with someone who's very religious and it's like, you know, like I go to church every week and this and that, and anybody who's with me has to also do the same thing. Right. So I really couldn't say whether or not I'd be able to do something like that, but because that's a big commitment, you know. Well,
and marriage equality has changed up the dating game a lot as well, because it's like, you know, we've mentioned it before how now when you date someone, it's
no fun.
Well, it's got the potential.
Where's this going? Oh my God!
And that's from a resident lady, so it's kind of like, you know, it's one of those things. But the dynamic of dating has changed because now we have marriage equality, especially in New York City. Do you find that
in some places,
exactly, thanks, yeah, and in some places, absolutely. But do you find that that's also changed up the dynamic of how dating exists or how people approach dating?
You know, I was actually talking about this with a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and I honestly, since marriage equality has passed, I don't know anybody that's gotten married. But, you know, I was also...
Well, now we have Joey.
Honey, you got to talk to some lesbians because they are all getting married.
No, I think I'm just hanging out with, like, drunken sluts. So, you know, I better like, get, like, some, you know, better friends.
But, I mean, it's like, has that changed up the game? Do you think that we're now, when we date, are we looking for that potential life partner?
I know I am.
Or everything takes time. It's. Did you have a favorite story in Justin's book?
You know, I got mad when I was reading that book because...
Because there's no pictures.
Oh, you guys watching this, I'm the only woman on the show tonight, and they are being very mean to me. Very mean. And I'm going to stab him in his thigh later. No,
Why wait?
I don't care if you're Cuban, okay? I went to public school. No, I got angry reading this because it was like, because tonight is the first time I met you, but I was reading it and I'm like, no, and I told you, it's like, why is he doing it again? Like, he dates a douchebag. Yeah. And then it kept happening. I'm like, no, why can't, you know, I was like, I was like in a movie theater, you know, like yelling at the screen.
Is that why you called it Inside the Vortex? Is it like, because it's kind of like hard to get out of that practice that you're in.
And it's
you were
also
honest about it, the way you were like, because I think a lot of people can identify with that. Like, you see yourself doing something stupid, and you're like, why do I keep doing this?
Why did I do that again?
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's sort of like, you know, I was the eye to my own perfect storm.
You got sick of yourself.
But it is a really good read. It's perfect beach reading. It's perfect subway reading. It's perfect. It's segmented nicely so that you can put it down. Not that you want to, but if you have to get off the train, you can put it down and come right back to it. And it's
I
just,
didn't want to put it down when I was
Yeah.
reading it. I was upset. But see, I know I liked it because I was like, that one that I told you that I did not like.
You could say that's a pseudonym, so you can repeat it.
Daniel.
He's changed the names to protect the innocent.
and the guilty.
And the
guilty.
satisfied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has writing the book and putting it all into this volume given you the ability to move on and identify the mistakes that you've made and
Oh
correct
yeah,
them?
yeah. I
Well, what
think
do you want to do now? Sorry, answer
What
the
do
first question. Sorry.
I think I'm the happiest I've ever been in my whole life, and a lot
And
of
isn't that where it starts? Like, it's like once you have,
Yeah.
you're happy, it's like
Right.
everything else just happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the key to it all, you know.
And
personal
to share the
happiness.
journey with the viewers, where can people find the book?
The book can be found on Amazon. It is paperback and Kindle as well. Everybody seems to like the ebook. Nobody
Yes.
likes paperbacks anymore.
God
So
bless the ebooks.
get it on your Kindle.
Okay, and your primary website again?
nakedinNewYorkCity.com. I still blog, and you know, a lot of the pieces that are going to come up during the summer will actually be a nice cross promotion to the book. So
Okay, thank
yeah.
you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.